Hi, I'm Fred Sauer. I'm a developer advocate for Google. I'm here today with Paul Hammant. Paul's a big open source advocate at ThoughtWorks and a dependency injection pioneer. ThoughtWorks is an agile preaching consultancy, and I'd like to ask Paul some questions today. He's had a chance to test drive our recent launch of AppEngine and support for the Java language. I wonder, Paul, if you could share some of your initial observations with us.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with AppEngine. It's a very nice environment to work with, and the feature set that you've shipped with it is quite compelling too.
What are some of the most important aspects of what we've just launched, in your opinion?
In terms of the experiments that I've done, I've been very pleased to find out that existing web frameworks for Java are working quite well in there, almost unchanged. And that there's integration into Google accounts, and that's taken away a huge problem that's always part of any web application development, in that you don't have to write a login system, you don't have to write a password recovery system, you don't even have to cater for hackers or phishing attacks, because the whole Google Capture stuff is all done very well. The other main observation that I've seen with this stack is that the persistent side is different to other applications that Java developers may have made in the past. Specifically, this is not a relational model. It's going to require some thinking from the outset about how you're going to organize your data inside AppEngine.
Sure. So AppEngine is built on top of a fairly scalable distributed data store, and I imagine you probably have some advice for developers building very scalable applications, perhaps for the first time. What are some recommendations or tips you might give them?
Yeah, so the obvious things to think about are the fact that you're being billed for every CPU second that you're using, and you're going to try and reduce that footprint as much as you can, shift as many resources to static as you can. And then for any items, you're going to want to try and see if you can leverage memcached for just shortcutting the whole request cycle. And then the other big piece, and this is in common with LAMP stack people, is you're going to want to use stateless if you can as a metaphor for the application, rather than leveraging the session for storage of stuff.
Sure. Stateless gives you scalability.
Yes, very much so. But actually no. Google gives you scalability in this case, but stateless is going to give you cheap scalability.
Okay. So one of the big features of this new version of AppEngine is the support for the Java runtime. And I wonder what you think the biggest impact is of the Java language support for some of your customers, some of ThoughtWorks customers.
Yeah, I think there's a huge cost reduction piece here. Currently, it's common for many Fortune 500 enterprises to want to build out their own infrastructure, not to trust things out in the cloud. So they're going to build that stack, and they're going to have support and infrastructure and electricity and personnel all assigned to this thing, and whole workflows around releases that are problematic for them.
Sure.
So one of the things I think could happen here is we might see 90% of all the costs for deployment and infrastructure just disappear, and that actually deployment to production will be a turnkey event, quite easy to do, and very pleasing for the customer in question to experiment with. So we might see some of those customers just commission an experiment with AppEngine before committing larger sets of their infrastructure towards it, to see what the experience was like for them.
That makes sense. What sort of applications do you think would be the best initial candidates for such an attempt?
It's going to be web applications, and web applications that are data-centric. So if you've got a large data set that's being read a lot, then it's suitable for the AppEngine. But similarly, if you have an application that's going to be receiving data from some other source, AppEngine will scale quite well to receive that data and then to store it in Bigtable. But things without daemon processes, perhaps.
Until we launch support for scheduled tasks, which is forthcoming. And maybe finally, what do you see for the future of cloud computing, or what would you like to see in the future of AppEngine?
Okay, so my wish list would include mostly additional services, which is I think the big value add that you guys have done here. So stuff around geolocation, an API that I as a developer could call to say where is my end user, and how I use that is my business, but you might attach terms and conditions to it to prevent the loss of the entire Google IP database to off-site. I might also think that this stack could be well suited for the streaming of content in the future. And I have no knowledge of what you're actually going to be putting in it later, but to me, I see CMSs and wiki systems being based on this, that might be richer media and streaming of their content directly from the actual application rather than handing you off in a URL to something like YouTube. To that end, I think you could do well to support DAV as a lower level service on, if web requests come in and they're ordinarily served by GET or by POST, I think it's quite possible here that you might be supporting put and deletes in highly sophisticated ways that would directly pipe data to its place in Bigtable. And to support that, I kind of think that maybe some of the magic that Google Code has done to sit subversion on top of Bigtable could be reused by yourselves to massively enrich the experience of users of the AppEngine experience. And then there's some other obvious pieces as well, like integration into Google Checkouts would provide a payment system for people, again, built quite cheaply and scalable. There's no fixed fees in here, in such a way that people wanting to mount a modest shopping portal could choose now the Google application, the AppEngine stack, and feel fairly pleased with that choice rather than traditionally trying to build out some PHP solution and then leveraging some third party to handle the payments and things like that. It's like a one-stop shop now for that entire experience.
Okay, those are great ideas. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.